Yeah. This is all to explain Oisius Achkika, all to explain, or rather, Oisius Achkika rather is a marshal. It's all to explain the Oisius of the Shem HaEtzem, the Shem HaMiyuchad, Shem HaVayeh, which are Oisius Achkika. The other analogy, to make it clearer, is understood also from the Ashpos HaSeichel, that originally when you have the Avraka of the Seichel, the idea first emerges, so there is certain Oisius that it comes in, obviously, and they are Oisius Achkika, they're not negotiable. To start considering different Oisius there would to destroy the entire Seichel. Whereas once that Seichel is articulated in Dibur, so then there's a wide array of Oisius in which the Seichel could be invested. The question that you had raised and which you addressed is, so where did the Oisius come from? So the Oisius really are spontaneous Oisius that come from the Keich HaMaskil and deeper, because these words talk to him. They're hiding the Seichel itself, really. The Mamash Atzmi is the, well, they are part of the Seichel, but their Atzmi is the Oisius, because these are the spontaneous words based on whatever considerations make up this individual person. That's where they come from. They're not negotiable because they come so deeply. But the emphasis here is not so much that, although that's the core of the issue. The emphasis is the reality that they're not negotiable. Again, to consider different Oisius at the time of the Havraka were to destroy the entire Seichel completely. Clear? And herein lies the difference between the letters of Teresh B'Ksav and Teresh B'Alpeh. Teresh B'Ksav negei atzir Oisius. When it comes to Teresh B'Ksav, so the letters are critical and cannot be tampered with. Sharim yeh negiya in halacha. In negiya, hefsek. If one negiya means if one letter will touch another letter, by hefsek, or there is a crack in one letter, Oisius azi asifeter apostle. The slightest deviation from the purity, the wholeness of the Oisius rendered the Sefer Torah apostle. The coach can much more so she Oisius. You certainly cannot change the letters. The coach can much more so she and certainly you cannot change the whole word, as it were. You know, use other ways to express whatever the Torah wants to say. Not so in Teresh B'Alpeh. The main thing is the idea, and not the Oisius. That's why it doesn't bring it here. But the halacha is a person's caught up to the Sefer Torah, doesn't understand anything, he makes a bracha. You can't make a bracha and then learn Gemara and understand what you learn. You can't do that. Because the Ikar of Teresh B'Ksav is the Oisius, the Ikar of Teresh B'Alpeh is understanding. If you don't understand what you're learning, it's a bracha in vain when it comes to Teresh B'Alpeh. Continuing the question, we see by the Rishonim we're talking Teresh B'Alpeh, Ad Gam Tanoim V'Amoraim, even going back very early in Teresh B'Alpeh, Tanoim and Amoraim, Sh'omrim Davar Echad V'chol Echad Oimrim B'Oisius Acherim. They're saying one thing, but in different Oisius. We're finding the Gemara constantly that this Tana is accords with this Tana, but said in different Oisius. Behind the fish Oisius, the Teresh B'Alpeh, Oisius Aksiva, because they are letters written metaphorically, not engraved, and therefore written letters. One other can be changed. But the Oisius of Teresh B'Ksav, Oisius Atzmiyim, they are these essential letters, that are the letters themselves are integral to the divine communication, the divine Seichel. And they're one thing, with the content which is conveyed by the Oisius, and therefore they're not negotiable. They cannot be changed. Now comes very interesting in Yonim, that having said this, we'll understand. We find in Torah, one thing is written twice or even three times. Maybe Parshas Karbonos Nesim. Classic example is the Karbonos of the Nesim, that all 12 Nesim brought the identical Karbonos, here it's repeated. With each nasi, with each leader, the Torah repeats again the details of its korban. It would be enough to enumerate the details of the korban for the first, for Nachshon. With respect to the other ones, the pasuk should say, they brought the same thing as the first one. Why does the pasuk have to then repeat all the details? Likewise, when it comes to, for example, the census, with every tribe, the Torah repeats again till doisam their progeny, mishpachaisam according to their families, the beis avoisam to their father's house, ben mispashem the golgoloisam according to the numbers of the heads that were counted, kol zocha ben esim shona v'mayla kol yetzitzova, all these different expressions and different ways of counting. Those that are 20 above who go into the army, so we find that the pasuk repeats their numbers. To see inside the psukim over there, but yeah, it repeats their numbers. Beginning and then in the summary and the tally.
No, it repeats this phrase. This
phrase. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This phrase. I'm sorry. This phrase that introduces. You're correct. This phrase that introduces. That's repeated. That we're counting the army age and all the details that were established for the first tribe. And so too was the same of the remaining tribes. Why repeat again that each tribe was introduced with this description of the nature of the count? It's superfluous. Just give us the tally of each subsequent tribe. As he says, that these are not negotiable letters and they're integral to the inyan that's being said. They're one thing with the content. Therefore, you see not the same letters, but they are different. Each one is mamshich a different amshacha. Each korban, each nasi had a different karvana, and each shevet had a different tchuna, a different property. So therefore, when you say head, so head for one shevet means one thing, and head for another means something else. And the karbanis for one shevet is one thing, and the karbanis for another is another thing. They're not just letters conveying information. The oisiyos atzmim, which are conveying the inyanim. So since each navi was each nasi was in his karbanis, as the medrash, the different karbanis that they had, it was a completely different amshacha. So you need those oisiyos, because those oisiyos and oisiyos atzmim, again, not information, but the oisiyos that convey the teichen of the inyanim, and therefore have to be repeated. But he adds even more now. Even that we see this in the oisiyos itself, that the fact is, he goes and say at the end of the ois, that we do not find that the oisiyos are written differently with the different nesiyim. They are written the same. And I'll make that point at the end. But he wants to bring out here that even the same ois, you can see, Parshat Begashmi it's a different amshacha. For example, Bois Aleph. Shesh Oifens, one way to write the Aleph, Sheyesh Shinyonehu Yud Barosh. How's it written? A Yud on top, a Yud B'Seif, a Yud at the bottom, a Kav Be'emsa, and a line, Pasha Begashmi, is a Yud, and a line in between that connects them. So if it's written that way, what does it mean? The Yud, the El Yud, Chachma, Ilah. The higher Yud is Chachma, Ilah. Yud Atacht, and the Chachma Tator. And the lower Yud is the lower level of Chachma. So that's what Aleph means, written that way. But then there's other ways. Yesh Eidoifen, Yud L'mayla V'dalad L'mata. That's how we write it. Not mistaken. And a Yud above, but a Dalad below. Shayud Shebesayfai Uken Dalad. The Yud at the bottom of the Aleph, you can take out Svarim. Al Teb Shulchan Aruch actually brings all this. The Yud below is written like a Dalet. So that's a different inyan. Chachma Malchus. Now the Yud above is Chachma, but the letter below is not Chachma Tato, but rather Malchus. It's a whole different Amshocha. And what's the line in between that connects these two letters? It's Tiferes. Mechaber Chachma Malchus. That's the second way of writing Aleph. Following all this? Yeah? I can't hear you. If it's a Yud and a Yud, so it's Chacham Milah and Chachma Tato. It's a Yud and a Dalet, it's Chachma Malchus. Can you do it? The Dalet is Dal means poor. Dalet goes on Malchus. V'yesh oidei from Ba'alef. A third way. Shakav be'emtza nechlak l'shnayim. That the middle line itself has two components. Chelki ha'tachten shaykh l'Yud ha'elyon. The lower part, he explained why, is connected to the Yud ha'elyon, which is Chacham Milah. And Chelki ha'elyon, and the upper part, it's a slanting. He's explaining in a second. It's a slanting line, and the upper part, Shaykh Yud ha'tachen, Shaykh to Malchus. Why? How is the line written in the Aleph? Right? It's from left to right. It's not a vertical line. It's from left to right. So what's that? That's an Amshocha from Gvura, which appears on the upper left. The Netzach, which appears on the lower right. That's how the slant goes. The above part. This is the inverse of before. The Chelki ha'elyon, the above part of the line, which touches and reaches what? Gvura on the left side. That's Shaykh Yud ha'tachten. B'chinas ha'malchus. As is known, Shigam came b'kav ha'smoil. Because Malchus, although it appears in the center, but Malchus is connected to Gvura. The Chelki ha'tachten, in the lower part of this slanted, what's the word for slanted? Diagonal line. So the lower part is on the right side, right? It's right, left. So the lower part is on the right side. So that's touching it. That's what reaches there. The right side there, which is netzach on the right side. So what's lined up above netzach is chachma. So that's connected to the upper yud, which is chachma. That's a whole different Amshocha. So you had three different. We don't again now to explain the result of these Amshochas, but we just to the technical to understand that the different ways of writing the letter Aleph convey a different Amshocha Malamayla. Clear?
Yes.
The three ways. You got it visually. I could show it to you visually.
Everybody has to know.
Huh? Okay, that's not all of them. That's the Yud. That's the first one. Yud and Yud, and then there could be a Dalet. Then this could be a Dalet, and then explains that. Yeah, that's the general idea. What?
I think there's other ones also.
Huh?
I think there might be even more.
Could be. Likewise, base, there's a line, a horizontal line above. The kav lamata and a horizontal line below. The kav be'emtza, and then a vertical line inside the yamin, on the right side. Right, that's the basic base. The kav elyon will bina. The upper line is bina. The kav ha'tachten malchus, and the lower line is malchus. And Beis and Moishe, the two mothers, both are feminine. Bina receives, malchus receives. So they are both the union of Moishe. And the line, the vertical line is Tiferes, and Mechaber that connects Binu and Malchus. It's a whole different Amshoch. Obviously than the Aleph, but he wants to now illustrate the different ways to write base. V'yesh oifen shetzira base uvav dalet. The top is dalet, and the vav is the bottom is a vav, and it's lying down. You follow? V'hein du partzufim. These are the two faces of Malchus. Vav is the Yizah and Dalet is Malchus. As they fuse in the letter Beis, so this is on Malchus incorporated in the Chachma. Again, beginning the geography, but you have to understand the geography. That's what the Eis, that's what the level of Beis means in the second way of writing it, unlike the first way of writing it. Beis Gimel, what's a Gimel? So Gimel is a fusion of a Vav and then a Yud B'Seifa, a Yud attached to it on the left. Right, we learned about this in Basilagani. Gimel Dalim. Behind the Shem is Tzamtzim B'Seif Am Shachasa. The Yud at the bottom of the Vav is a Tzimtzum, as we learned earlier in this Maimer. Yud is Tzimtzum. So what's that? For B'chinas Yisoid, that's already Yisoid as it comes down into a Nekuda. Shemashpia B'Malchus as a Mashpia Malchus. That's the meaning of the word Gimel, which actually means Goimel Dalim. To bestow upon the poor. Malchus is poor because Malchus has nothing of its own. So Gimel is Mashpia in Dalit. And aside from this, Shebechol Ois, Achas, every individual letter, Yeshkam Meifanim. There's different ways to write it. So aside from the fact that we just pointed out, there's different ways to write the letters, which obviously convey different what? Hamshachas. But even you're writing it in the same way, which was in the case of the Nisim. The Nisim, it's all written with the same ways. But it's all different Hamshachas. They are mamshech a different inyan, a different Hamshacha, in different subjects and different parshas. Therefore, to say they're not negotiable, because again, they're not the Oisius conveying information. The Oisius Achkika Adam Shach itself. Kam kasher Oisius Im Shavas, even if the letters identical, Yishmachol Mokim, Hamshachas Michad, there's each place where it's used in the context, it's a different Hamshach. All to conclude, V'kol Zeh B'Yisish B'Terish B'Ksav, Shem Oisius Atzmi, and this is all true of Terish B'Ksav. Again, that analogy in the Moshel, it's the Rav when he first has the discovery of the idea, and right away in his mind there are certain oisius by which he is expressing it. To tamper with the oisius there is completely to destroy the seichel.
Which part of the Mashal is this?
The Havraka, when he first discovers it.
Before the Yud?
In the Oisius. No, it means all the Oisius even. It's even in the way all of the Oisius. Any Oisius. It's not so much the Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. It's to bring out, that's a moshel for all the Oisius of Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. Yeah. It's a moshel for all of the Oisius. That when he comes up with the idea and instinctively there's certain words he puts it in, he's going to think there may be another word, he's lost the whole seichel. Later, when he teaches it, there's a whole array of words that he could express it in. It's all negotiable. But not at the moment of the actual Havraka. Now, the question was, where do these Oisius come from? So why these? Because again, the Oisius Atzim, they talk to him. These are the most personal Oisius, for whatever reason, his own background, his own association, whatever the reason. When Etzem HaNefesh, somehow these certain words that are rooted deeply in Etzem HaNefesh, more so for him than other Oisius. Whatever the reason, they are spontaneous and they're not negotiable. He can't think then, he hasn't, to get this clearer. When he has this Havrok, he's not thinking what word to use. When he's thinking what word to use, he's going to teach it in the classroom. If he's this word, use that word. How best to express it. But when he has that internal discovery, it comes in certain, doesn't come in whole sentences, doesn't come in a whole elaborate paragraph and a whole thesis. But he's thinking that every seichel has to have certain oisius. So there's shards, kudus, words, letters, clearly. Those are not negotiable. They well up from deep within him, and they're integral to the seichel itself. And if he's there going to think maybe another word will do it, he will lose what he discovered. So that's a moshel for all a moshel for all dalad oisius of Shem Havaya.
Right.
And a moshel for Teresh B'Ksav.
If it's a mashal for the dalad oisius of Shem Havaya, is it supposed to mix with the Isis of the Rav? It seems like we're confusing two Mashalim a little bit. Yeah.
No,
because we're looking at the Shem Havaya versus the other Shemas. So
right.
Shem Havaya is Chakika,
yeah,
and the other Shemas are not, because they express something which in some ways is interchangeable. I don't know. I don't see how.
And you think about it myself, whether it does jive or doesn't.
Yeah.
Maybe it just simply doesn't. Different Mashalim, this for this aspect, that aspect. You're asking whether it works, as David was asking, for the whole Yud K Vav K. But as we explained it before, it's not. So the last Hey, Malchus, he's choosing Oisius to give over. It's not. It's a Moshe for Yud K Vav K, B'chlolis. But how does it fit? Let's walk it through, think it through. But then Yud K Vav K also conveys the whole Hamshacha Lamata. Got to think about it. Maybe the Maimon itself will give us some insight. So that's on hold. You can think about it too. There's a danger about thinking about these things only because you need to look up sources, the places where it's spoken about, and start thinking your own. Do this. They're not giving us a lot of Makodas here. I don't know why. Iron base. Yeah, hour 19. That's where these things are dealt with with great nuance and depth.
I think at the beginning there's a that says for everything that's coming, let's look at
Ein base and Ein base. Which order is it? For the beginning of the Maimon.
Yeah, around 9, page 370. The Cholabala come in. Rabbi Ramasko say Yitnu.
Eter Ein base. Yeah. When Zalman first came, we started learning Iron Base once a week. On Sunday, we dropped it for once a week, which is impossible once a week. It is so dense, it has to be learned every day. And start next week, Chaz, we learned the previous week before. Remember, you need to go further. It's so profoundly nuanced. It's the ultimate in the articulation. Many of my modern Rebbe, as you can see here, are based on Iron Base. In the Pratim, as a surgeon, Fasha taking apart the Pratim and the nuance of the Likus. The Rebbe's Inyan is Ata Tetzav, Shachas Etzem, and all of the Pratim. But the Rebbe Rashab is laying bare all of the Pratim in the most exquisite way. So let's go further. But now comes in, yeah. You just finished that? No. It's finished the ice. So this is all Teresh B'Ksav. Hashenkin Oisis, the Teresh B'Alpeh. Heimkim, relatively speaking, Oisis Aksiva, written letters. Shem Lamata B'Madrege, Oisis Achikar on a lower level than engraved letters. Or Canal, Oisis Aksiva in Bem, Riboya Oirikim, Oisis Achikar. They do not convey the oid of the Seichel like the engraved letters do. And therefore, we see in those letters that more holiness is revealed there. Etc., etc. That the kedusha of Teresh B'Ksav is far greater than the kedusha of the letters of Teresh B'Alpeh. And moreover, as he said before, in Teresh B'Alpeh, it can be expressed the same idea by the different tanoim in different ways. And the Ikka there is not the Isis, but the Ikka there is the Seichel, which is why, again, if a person makes a bracha, just reads Gemara without Birchas HaTorah, without understanding, is a bracha lebatola, because the whole thing is understanding. Whereas making a bracha b'teresh b'ksav, called up, you can make a bracha because the Ikka there is the Isis themselves, the Hamshacha, which the Isis convey. But now comes the big kasha, and as we all know, there's plenty. Hello. Plenty in my body. Hold this for a second. Up here. I made 15 copies. 10 copies. Okay, they're related. They can share. Okay, and the big shaila is all truth comes in paradox. So, how is it that the Rotz and the Elyon, the pale mamish, what to do, you don't know from Teresh B'Ksav? Teresh b'ksav is Oisius Achkika. Oisius Atzmir. But, and you'd think that's where the Ratzon will be manifest. No, it's in Teresh b'Baal Peh, which is negotiable, different Oisius, and etc. How do you understand this? So that's what the whole next Ois is going to explain. Yet have to understand, because we see Shema Oisius, the Teresh b'ksav, from the written law itself. You can't know the details of how to. So what do you do? What does Hashem want? You don't know. Where are the details of the Rotzen? Dafke, where in Teresh Bal Peh and the oral law. Yeah, but the Shail is Mayaches in Shekol Giloy Ha'yedei Oisius. Everything is revealed through letters, a Kalim. For Oisius, the Teresh Bal Peh, Na'ilim, Teresh B'Ksav. Him Na'ilim Yosef. We just explained now the letters, the Teresh B'Ksav, much higher. Or maybe called Giloy Ha'yedei. That these Oisius convey themselves, the whole Meneyobei, right? Why is it we cannot know the details of Hashem's will from Teresh B'Ksav? We can only know that from the way the Mishnah, Gemara, and Shulchan Aruch, etc. Yuvim Behektim understand this by first asking another shayla. We find sometimes Madregen Nailis Yoser, the higher you go, so the greater the number. To illustrate, Kadisa Bezoya, like it says in Zoya, Apostle by the Sora, her years were Meir Shon of Esim Shon of Sheva Shonim. So the bigger number, 100, then 20, then 7. Says the Zoya, the Sheva Shonim is Zon Malchus. The 7 goes on, the Madregas of Zon Malchus. The Esrim, the bigger number 20, that 2 tens is Chachma Bina. Umei and 100 B'chinas Keser. Higher. Why 100? Shekil called Esses Svidis, because it's all 10 Svidis. Commission including the Esses, each one is incorporated of 10. Shemisparim, therefore 10 times 10 is Mei 100. But that's all over there, B'chinas Chitzonis HaKeser. That's all speaking what? The lower level of Keser, the Chitzonis, the external level. Misper the Elef, then there's the number 1,000, Urvava 10,000, Ubepnimius HaKeser. Though these numbers convey the inner level of Keser. Elosh v'misper Elef ukvisha pnimius HaKeser b'amshacha. 1,000 goes on how the inner level is in a state of being drawn down. Misper Revava, the number 10,000, Ube'etzem pnimius HaKeser sh'lamad b'amshacha. That's mamash pnimius atik. That's the inner level of Kesef beyond revelation.
What is he speaking about?
He's asking a question now.
No, but the Pnimi, we're talking about
Atik.
But we spoke about Mea Shana. Where did the 1,000 come?
The pasuk ends at Meah,
Yeah.
but they should know there's higher madregas than Meah. Meah is Kesef B'chlal, but in Kesef Gufa there's 2 levels. That's all Chitzonius, there's Pnimius, and there's
No, I'm saying also.
No, it's not in the pasuk, but the number Elef Ravav is in Torah. Doesn't apply to Sarah. Doesn't apply to Sarah. But he's bringing out there are higher numbers too, which refer to higher levels. Just putting it all together, presenting us with the numbers game, and in here we see the bigger the number, the higher the level. On the other hand, now the question, and sometimes we find the opposite. The higher you go, the less number, the more unity, the less fragmentation. Atzilus is called the world of unity. We go beyond numbers altogether. Pshito, simplicity, oneness. So how do you reconcile this? The higher you go, in some places we get bigger numbers, and other places we speak, higher you go, less numbers. Answer, and this is all going to help us understand what? And understand why the Rotz and the Elyon, the Pratim of the Rotz and the Elyon, is Dafka where in Teresh Bal Peh. That's where we're going here. Let's continue. But the matter is, So this is the difference between Oidus and Kalim, right? So, we don't want to oversimplify matters here, but it's just helpful just to remember Oidus and Kalim, the simple terms, which is really what it comes down to, infinite and finite. Finished. Kalim is conveying Elikus in a descriptive way, and Oidus means the pshitus of Elikus, non-descriptive, relatively speaking. Having said that, where we speak of the Oid, Kol Mashalamayla, the high you go, Hamispar Humaruba, the number is greater. And it's going to ask in a moment, a little bit, but wait a minute. If you're talking about the pshitus of Elikus, what's the numbers here? He'll explain. Just leave that now on hold. But first he's giving us the fact. When we talk about Oid, then the higher you go, the greater the number. When it comes to Oid, it's symbolic, and we'll explain why in a minute. The lower the Oid is drawn down, the smaller the number will be. Yeah? But Kalim is the opposite. Kalim, the higher you go, the number is less. And yeah, and the lower you go, the number becomes greater. So what's the pshat? First the moshel, the hashpah, haseichel, the Rav, the Talmud, page 376. The hashpah, again, this is the moshel we keep on coming back to. So Talmud Godel, how does this work? You see, it's a very simple moshel here. A great student who's somewhat on par with the Rav, but he's still a Talmud because he doesn't know this Seichel. It's completely foreign to him. It's being conveyed, but he's a Talmud Gadol. So Maspik lo yamiris haseichel b'yis k'sadim. You just give him a few words, he got it. If a Talmud cotton, but a Talmud with lesser capacity, so the chloimilis haseichel b'ribi oyis is got to bring it down in many letters and words. V'chomash Talmud cotton b'yoser. And the lower the intellectual capacity, so the more he's got to explain. Mishalim, another moshel, Bezbeidim, and another insight.
That explains the Kalim, but not the Iris.
Yeah, not finished. That's right. The Nimtza Shabing in the Oisias, when it comes to Oisias, which is what?
Kalim.
The Kalim, words, Pasha, the Kalim. It's called Mashal Amata Yoisa, whatever the lower level we're bringing the Seichel down to. We need more words and letters. But when it comes to the Oid, how they move and it's understood. A higher student, a higher intellectual capacity, to whom it can be conveyed in a few chosen words. The Seichel illuminates with him. It's not caught up in the moshel and in the Ezbeidim. The higher the Talmud and the less the words, the more the Eir HaSeichel is illuminates. And the more the Talmud is smaller, so the Chariba Yisrael need more letters which screen and veil the purity of the concept. In the Eir HaSeichel, the pure concept becomes compromised and expressed in this very, very finite form. So now, so having said we're clear, so obviously the further we go down, the greater the number. Because drawing it down into further degrees of finitude needs further and greater detail. I'm not going to answer your question. I recall but the higher you go, the light is greater. But that's why when it comes to the number is greater. But our problem is, but numbers means division. Aval. We don't mean numbers. In light is not shaykh number, it's pshitus. The whole thing is the purity of the concept, it's oneness. So why are we giving it a number? And that which we say when it comes to Oir, the number is great. If we'd have to take this profound concept and express it down here, we need a tremendous amount of Oisius. The way the idea itself is, it is totally beyond the number. Okay, we continue tomorrow. Clear? The answer is clear.